of the scriptures to bring this message to my brethren, your chosen vessels. In your name, your son, Yahweh Shai. Amen. Okay. Hallelujah. So, Shabbat Anag to you, my dear brother. And I say Shabbat Anah because that is the Hebrew way of saying Sabbath delight. I am Bishop Balashan Naya Yavsaf Ban Yasharallah of Yahweh's Chosen Generation Sanctuary. And today on this Shabbat, I am in my living room bringing this message to you because I want to casually talk to you in a setting that is comfortable. I want to try to reach you and bring this to you so that it does not appear intimidating. You know, the fact that you are listening to the sound of my voice is everything. Why do I say that? It's everything because it's telling me that Yahweh has answered my prayer to place me in position to talk to you, to meet you. So if you out there have physically met me, then that's even more grander. It is a divine appointment by Yahweh because he wants you to hear what I got to say. You've been chosen, my friend, my brother. He wants you to know something because your vibe or your wavelength isn't fitting in with the rest of the world. And you know this. You know you don't fit in. You know you're trying to blend in with the world, but yet you don't. But then you run into someone like me and you feel that strange feeling, butterflies or something, whatever it is. And you say it's kind of weird, but yet you know that man there, that brother there, he's different. He's like me. And you want to interact. You want to communicate. And that's why I'm here. This video is dedicated to you, Jaden. Yes, it's dedicated to you. And it's going to help others because, like I said in the message, that question you asked about what is this religion? Or what's the name of the religion? What religion is this? That was the essence of your question. And so I'm going to answer that question now because, as I said, it's a hard question because it's going so far back to the beginning. We don't want to say it's this or that because it doesn't really necessarily fit in with this or that. You can't say Christian. You can't just say Jew. You can't say Islam. You can't say Buddhist. And the reason I say that because I've studied these religions. I have a book here called The National Geographic Geography of Religions. And this is going to give the reader of this book a good base understanding of world religions. So as I study these religions, I see bits and pieces that fit in with the religion that I'm promoting, basically. And we're going to use this term vaguely, not this, because as I said before, this is not a religion, but because it does involve God. And according to the Webster's dictionary, let's look at it here. When you type, or you could probably Google this, when you look up the word religion in Webster's dictionary, it says right here that religion, the first definition, the service and worship of God or the supernatural. So that's in essence what religion is, the service and worship of God. So when you ask me what religion is this, I gotta have to tell you about the God that I worship and serve. Now, referring to the name, we're going to get to that. So I'm going to try to keep this video or this lesson short because I find out that a lot of my brothers, your attention span isn't available. You have so many things you got to do. You're very busy. You're easily distracted. I know I was young like you, but let me emphasize this. This is the reason why Yahweh has given us one day out of 7 to keep holy, to put aside your personal desires and all the things that you are normally doing throughout the week, and now to focus and give it back to Him. That's what the Shabbat is all about. You're going to have to talk to your folks, talk to your mom, talk to your dad, and say, hey, mom, hey, dad, can you please be patient with me and let me have one day of rest where I can focus on serving God. I want to keep His Sabbath day, and I need to have one day that I'm not being bothered or being required to do things. I need you to have a little understanding and let me have this one day, the Sabbath day, which is Friday night through Saturday night. So it's only 24 hours, one day starting at Friday night to Saturday night. I need to have this one day to be able to do that so I can please God. I'm trying to get closer. I'm trying to develop a relationship with God. If you talk to them like that, I believe Yahweh will soften their hearts and have them have understanding, and they will respect your requests. But be respectful and be humble. And this goes for your people who out there who have employers who are requiring you to work on Shabbat. You should just bring that same message to them that you would like to request to have Friday evening through Saturday evening off. And if they reject it, then you need to have your congregation or your camp or your organization who gathers on the Shabbat write them an official letter and submit it to them and ask them to receive this letter and accept it. And if they do not, then you will just have to continue to work on the Shabbat. But I urge you to look for other employment. Meaning, don't just stay there at that job. Seek other employment. And when you're on that interview, because if Yahweh wants you to find another job, He will make it possible. Someone will favor you. He will allow that new employer to let you have the Shabbat off. But you must ask him or her in the interview. When it gets to the point where they say, is there anything you want to add, or is there anything you need, requests you need to make? You need to say right then and there that you need to have Friday evening through Saturday evening off because of religious purposes. You need to make that clear because you cannot spring this on them like, aha, you gave me a job, now give me this day off or I'm going to quit. You can't, that will be unfair. You got to let them know in the beginning when they're starting, when we're making this agreement that they're going to hire you, you need to let them know right then and there. And Yahweh, if you're sincere and if He wants you to work there, will put favor on you that they will respect your requirement to have the Shabbat off. But for those who are already working the Shabbat, you're going to have Yahweh have mercy on you by asking Him to forgive you, but show your dedication to Him by seeking other employment and requesting Shabbat off with a formal letter to your employer by your religious organization. All right, I think I made that clear. I'm going to keep this lesson short because I know people are easily distracted. And I want you all to get the essence of what this is all about. My brother brought up this question, and I was saying I need to answer this and make a formal video discussing it. And the Spirit led me to go this route, to go back to the beginning, to where religion started. Since religion, according to the Webster Dictionary, is about the service and worship of God, you need to go back to the beginning where people were worshiping and serving God and find out what they did. What did they call it? I'm going to use the first 5 books written by Moses, one of our ancestors, who led our people out of Egypt, I'm going to use what he wrote as a reference. And this is in your Bible. In the book of Genesis, you've heard of Genesis, that's the beginning where God created the heavens and the earth. You're going to have this part here in verse 4 where Adam and Eve, you've heard of Adam and Eve, I'm sure, they had children, and two of their sons, one was named Abel, one was named Cain. Now that Cain wanted to serve God the way he wanted to do it, and Abel was serving God the way God wanted him to do it. And by doing that, God accepted Abel's sacrifice, but rejected Cain's sacrifice. And this drove Cain to jealousy to the point that he unalived Abel. You got this same mentality going on right now in this world. You got two world views. One group wants to serve God the way they want to serve God, and another group wants to serve God the way God wants to be served. Let's give you. I'm gonna give you an example. You got one group who say, let's celebrate Christmas and Easter, New Year's, Thanksgiving, all that stuff. And you got one group saying, well, let's serve God and by keeping his holy days, his holidays that's recorded in the book, Passover and Feast of Unleavened Bread and Pentecost and trumpets and atonement and tabernacles. Yeah, we got all these holidays that God has given the people because God says, this is the day I want you to celebrate. And the majority of people reject that and create their own. And then you got people who say, I'm going to accept that and do it the way God wants it done. So you got two groups. One group doing it their way, another group doing it the way they want to do, the way God wants it done. And you're going to see how this started out in the beginning. In verse 8, and Cain talked with Abel, his brother, and it came to pass, that means some time took place, when they were in the field, that Cain rose up against Abel, his brother, and slew him. And we can keep on reading. And the Lord said unto Cain, where is Abel thy brother? And he said, I know not. Am I my brother's keeper? And he said, why, what hast thou done? The voice of thy brother's blood crieth unto me from the ground. And now art thou cursed from the earth, which opened her mouth to receive thy brother's blood from thy hand. When thou tillest the ground, it shall not henceforth yield unto thee her strength. A fugitive and a vagabond shalt thou be in the earth. And Cain said unto the Lord, my punishment is greater than I can bear. Behold, thou hast driven me out this day from the face of the earth, and from thy face shall I be hid, and I shall be a fugitive and a vagabond in the earth. And it shall come to pass that everyone that findeth me shall slay me. So now we got a very detailed story of what took place. Now we see how God has mercy and didn't unalive Cain, but allowed him to be driven out, to be exiled. And as my teacher used to say, we're going to learn something on the way to learning something. Right here in verse 14 in chapter 4 in Genesis, it says, behold, thou hast driven me out this day from the face of the earth. Now, do you understand that this word earth isn't referring to just the physical plane of the earth? Because Cain is still on the earth. When we read on, he goes and builds a city. So he didn't leave the earth. The earth was a symbolic term to represent the face of the people of the civilized world. This earth is not to be taken as a physical plane. Cain was exiled. He was cast out from civilization, from the people he knew. He couldn't stay with the group of people that he knew. He had to be exiled away, rejected. And that's what it means, cast out from the face of the earth. And to make this clear, He says here, and from thy face, referring to God's face, shall I be hid. Meaning that God's not going to even look at him anymore. He's been shunned. You didn't murder your brother. I'm not going to even look at you. I'm hiding. In other words, he won't be able to come to God anymore and get God's to look upon him with favor, because God is going to hide his face from him. That's a great punishment. But it goes on. And we're going to talk about all this stuff. I'm going to break all this down for you, because this is going to help explain to you what this religion is. So he goes on to say, anyone who finds me shall slay me, the avenger of blood. They're going to want to come and get revenge for what he did. So Cain is being exiled to take refuge somewhere else. And it says here, and the Lord said unto him, therefore whosoever slayeth Cain, vengeance shall be taken on him sevenfold. So Yahweh is saying, hey, I'm going to set it up that I'm going to make it known that anyone who
unalives you,
they're going to pay double. And the Lord set a mark upon Cain. This is how he was able to identify Cain from all the rest of the world. He said, I'm going to put a mark upon Cain. So this mark was to let everyone know, that's the man who's been marked by God. Now, we're going to talk about this mark, because if you want to understand about the mark of the beast, the 666, I'm sure you heard all that. You're going to have to go back to the first time this word mark is used. You see, this mark here, I'm going to give you a clue. It's a genetic marker, right? It's a genetic marker. What is a genetic marker? Look it up. It's a genetic trait that is being genetically put into your biological makeup. And throughout this text, you're going to find out when Yahweh, God, marks someone, it's a mark of leprosy. He is taking away their melanin, removing it. He did that before with a king. He did that before with Moses' sister. And he did it with Moses himself. He's showing you, I'm the one who has the power to take your melanin away from you. So when he does that, everyone will see, you're the one that God cursed. You're the one that has his genetic marker on you that God has punished you with exile, making you a fugitive and a vagabond throughout the whole earth. You got to understand what those words mean. A fugitive, meaning you're wanted. You didn't commit a crime. You're always on the run to avoid your punishment. And a vagabond, meaning you have no home to yourself. You are outcast. You're living amongst everybody else, but it's not your land. Everywhere you go, you are pretty much a bum. A bum living on the land of someone else and on the hard works and on the resources of someone else. A vagabond. So Cain says, I'm going to fight this curse. Verse 16. And Cain went out from the presence of the Lord and dwelt in the land of Nod on the east of Eden. So he went eastward. And Cain knew his wife, and she conceived and bare Enoch. So we say knew his wife, meaning he had sex with his wife, and she conceived and had a son named Enoch. And he built a city and called the name of the city after the name of his son Enoch. So Cain said, well, I'm going to keep on living, and we're going to start a new society. We're going to start a new city, a new population of people. Now, I'm going to skip a lot of this because it's going to go through all the genealogy of Cain and his sons after him. But you're going to find out that Cain's sons and his lineage, they were responsible for great influences and technological advancements and developments on the early world. And everything that we see today, we could attribute to them because they were the people who constructed and fashioned and were craftsmen, referring to cattle and metallurgy and music and instruments and tools and weapons. And with that being said, it brought about a lot of violence upon earth because of the technological advances and the building of weapons. People began to be very aggressive, and you can see that being a tribute from their forefather Cain, his aggression toward his brother. But the technology that they had, they were abusive and aggressive to other people. So the earth began to get filled with a lot of violence and bloodshed. And this is the reason why we continue to read where it gets to the point where Adam and Eve had another son in place of Abel that Cain slew. And this is where I want to get to the point or the message that the Spirit is leading me to give you of what is this religion. It says here in verse 25, and Adam knew his wife again, means he had sex again, and she bare a son and called his name Seth. For God, she said, hath appointed me another seed instead of Abel. So they're looking at this new male child, another seed that God has scheduled, appointed, or gave her through Adam. And now they're going to call him Seth. And the rest of the verse says in verse 26, it goes on, and to Seth, to him also there was born. So time progressed. Seth grew up and had a son. And he called his name Enos. And right here, then begin men to call upon the name of the Lord. So we'll stop it right there because we got to understand something that's taking place. At that moment of time, men began to call upon the name of the Lord. The name of the Lord. What were they doing? Calling upon the name of the Lord. So you have to ask yourself the question, why? As I mentioned earlier, because the world had turned violent. And the men who were being born later, who wanted to live peaceful and serve Yahweh, were being oppressed and persecuted by Cain's ancestors who wanted to do it the way they wanted it done. So you had a clash. So these men were calling upon the name of the Lord for assistance. They needed help. They needed Yahweh, the Lord, to intervene on their behalf. So they would call upon his name, upon his authority to save them from whatever situation they need to be saved. This is where the Spirit is leading me to tell you this is the religion. And as Webster Dictionary says, that religion is the service and worship of God. You're going to ask yourself the question, well, what God? That's the first thing you want to know. What God are you serving? What God are you worshiping? I'm telling you that this is not a religion because it goes back to a heritage, to the beginning. It's an understanding the name of the Lord. And that's very important because throughout all this text, we find out that men are calling upon the name of the Lord. But we could start from Zephaniah chapter 3, verse 9, all the way into the letters of Paul in the book of Romans. Let's go there and read Romans. Romans chapter 10. Chapter 10, verse 13. For For whosoever shall call upon the name of the Lord shall be saved. So again, we understand that calling upon the name of the Lord is about the salvation, about being saved. And like I said earlier, about being saved from whatever situation you need saving from. If you are poverty stricken, you need to be saved from that. If you are ill, you need to be saved from your illness. If you are under attack by enemies, you need an avenger, you need a hero to save you from your oppressor. Zephaniah chapter 3, verse 9. For then will I turn to the people a pure language, that they may all call upon the name of the Lord to serve him with one consent. So this is referring to a time where Yahweh is going to make sure everyone knows his name. And I've already revealed the name to you earlier in the video because I keep saying it, because I know the name. It's able to be known because if they knew it back in the past, it can be known to this day in the present. So we can know the name because they were calling upon the name of the Lord back then in the time of Seth. So we know the name. Well, it's going to come a time where he's going to get everyone to do it with one consent. Everyone's going to know the name. Right now, everyone don't know the name. It's only a select few who do know the name, who we continue to call upon the name of the Lord from the beginning of time to this present time now. And that's the reason why you're here. You're listening to me, because Yahweh has chosen you to give you the final piece that you've been looking for. Yeah, you've been searching. I know. You've been curious. You've been asking questions, and you're not getting the exact answer that you need. So I'm here to fill in that missing piece, to tell you the name of the Lord. And I made videos about this, and I think I'll include that video right here. So again, this is the reason why we call upon the name of the Lord. And as I did in other videos, his name, Yahweh, is about men lifting their hands up, calling upon his name. This is the religion. And the religion is Yahweh, people. It's Yahweh and his son, Yahweh Shai. It's about his salvation, calling upon his name, calling upon his authority, relying on him. That's the name of this religion. You want to tell people, when you're talking to them, what's your religion? What's the name of your religion? Yahweh. It's the name of your God. I say your God and no one else's because you're an Israelite, just as I mentioned in the past. Your God is the God of your fathers, the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. They served him. They called upon his name. And it goes further back than that, all the way to Seth. He called upon his name, and his children did. Calling upon the name of Yahweh is our religion. You're probably saying to yourself, I can live my life fine without dealing with God or calling upon his name. You know, all religions are the same. That's what you're saying. He wants you to look to him ultimately as your father. And we know that a father is a leader and a provider and a protector. So you call upon his name, you know that he's your father, then he's got to perform fatherly acts. I'm doing my job to come to many of you young men because you're fatherless, meaning that your physical father isn't present for whatever reason. I know why, but we're not going to go into the details in that video why, but I know why. Because Yahweh wants you to rely on him as your father now. This is your father up there, and his name is Yahweh. And he wants you to call upon him and respect him as the father. Well, it means do as your father tells you to do, and love him as your father, because he's the one that's going to ultimately provide for you. My brother, you living this life now, and you're not really clear about where it's heading. But I'm going to give you an advice that it's going to get crazy out here. You may think it's crazy now. It's going to get really bad. And your only source of help is going to be calling upon the name of Yahweh. And how you do it, you put your hands up and you face the east and you say, Yahweh, save me, help me, deliver me, fight for me, feed me, feed me. That's right, you're going to want to be fed. If you've ever been hungry, it's going to get to the point where hunger is going to be worldwide. So you're going to have to start now looking to your Father as your source of strength and your provider and your protector. So he's bringing me to you now to get you ready because these hard times are coming. And if you want to escape it, if you want to be saved from it, you're going to have to call upon Yahweh. And you need to find how, you need to now know how to get Yahweh to act, how to get your Father to act and to do, and to get him to come to your aid. See, you can't call upon him and live like Cain and serve him the way Cain wanted to serve him. You're going to have to serve him the way Abel did. You're going to serve him the way God wants to be served. And one way of doing it is as the book of James says. But first, let's read Psalm 68. So you can understand something. I'm getting all over the place. Excuse me if I might have edited this video to get this just right. Psalm 68. So I want this to flow good. Psalm 68 verse 5. It says here, he's a father of the fatherless. A judge of the widow is God in his holy habitation. So he is a father to the fatherless, a judge of the widow. So widows, women who have who husbands are gone, they have no one to defend them. So Yahweh can be their judge, meaning he'll fight for them, he'll defend them. The fathers are orphans, and anyone whose father is, they're the children of these widows. They need a father. So Yahweh said, I'm a father to the fatherless. So what he wants us to do is, according to James, let's go to the book of James. What he wants his people to do is to show love and compassion and help to those orphans and fatherless. When we read James chapter 1, it says here, chapter 1, verse 27, pure religion and undefiled before God and the Father is this. So this is what pure religion and undefiled. What is it? What is pure religion? What is the true religion? What is undefiled? I mean, it ain't polluted, it ain't tainted. It's perfect. And this is what it is: to visit the fatherless and the widows in their affliction. So visit means to come to their aid. And that could be any kind of way, any way that's necessary. It ain't always about money, as I mentioned earlier in the video. I'm coming to your aid right now to bring this information to you. I'm doing my job to visit you, because a lot of you brothers don't have no fathers at home. So I'm coming to your aid. And for you women who are listening, who have children or are married, had a man and he's gone, well, I'm here to help you as well. You need to get in this book and find you a man who is also in this book, who will keep the commandments and who will call upon the name of Yahweh. Because like I said, if you're not in line with him, if you're not calling upon his name, you're not truly, really seeking him. And when the time gets bad, it's going to be harder on you because you haven't developed that connection. You haven't developed that relationship to be able to have faith and patience you're going to freak out. You're going to bug out, as a lot of guys said. And then it ain't going to work for you. So you best to get started now practicing, calling upon his name, and finding a man who will do the same. And for the fatherless, the orphans, you young men who have no fathers, you need to also be called upon the name of Yahweh and we look to him as your father. So this is how I'm doing my job to visit you, to bring this to you. I'm trying to help you because you're in trouble, you're suffering, you're struggling, you're trying to make ends meet, you don't know where your life is heading, you're having all this trouble in your household. Well, you're going to have to call upon the name of Yahweh. And when you start doing that, now you want to start showing him that he's Father by doing what he says. And it says, continuing this verse in James, and to keep himself unspotted from the world. Now, when we read this in another translation, it says to keep himself from being polluted by the world. In the NIV, it says polluted by the world. And that's important because as I made a video lesson before about keeping the Shabbat, matter of fact, let's go there. When we read the book of Isaiah, chapter 56, I talked about how you want to keep the Shabbat and not pollute it. So that's that same word, pollution, because once you pollute something, you tainted it, it's no longer pure. So when you go to Isaiah 56, he tells you here, blessed is the man that doeth this. Do what? That layeth, and the son of man that layeth hold on it, that keepeth the Shabbat from polluting it, and keepeth his hands from doing any evil. So again, it's about not tainting what is holy, what is dedicated to Yahweh, and making it be worldly. So on this day, from Friday through Saturday, you need to not pollute it by tainting it with outside activities. Everything that you've been doing throughout the week, you need to stop it now and serve Yahweh by keeping his day holy. You need to be studying these videos that I make for you. If you're listening, study these videos I make for you. Ask questions. You can contact me. I'm available. You could ask me questions. You could talk to me. You could call me. But you don't do that because you want to stay ignorant and do what the world wants you to do. And I'm telling you, you're going to have to stop doing that, brother. You're going to have to stop it because Yahweh sees it. He knows it. And you're going to ask him to forgive you. And you're going to start getting right with him by studying this book. Find out who you are. And I'm telling you that you are of the lineage of the house of Israel. And keep the commandments and call upon his name. As I said before, we're supposed to be different. We're not supposed to be like the ancestors of Cain. We're supposed to be doing things the way Yahweh wants it done. We're supposed to be peculiar. That means not like everybody else. Because he didn't chose us. Yahweh has chosen us. He's chosen you. That's why you're listening. That's why I met you. I didn't find out that my life isn't set up the way I think it should be. I am divinely positioned. All things that I have been through has led me to this point to meet you. I think it's weird because that tells me that I don't really have no control. I just have to have faith and trust that Yahweh is working on my better behalf. So, in my past, I've offended and defiled my young brothers, and I have a great debt to repay. And now I have to work to help restore them and strengthen them and build them up to serve Yahweh the way he wants to be served and not the way we think he should be served. I'm not making this stuff up. You got this book, you don't believe it, you need to rethink that. This book is not on your shelf or on your book stand or in a night table or in a table somewhere or in the closet for no reason. It's been divinely put there for you. You need to find it and read it. People that told you don't read it. People that told you can't understand it. People that told you that it's a book not made for you. I am telling you, they all were misled, and this book is about your ancestry. It's about your history, about your forefathers and their connection and their interactions with the divine. And you know this, you feel it in your soul, but you just don't quite understand it. So I'm helping unlocking that for you so you can remember. And we could join together and we could call upon the name of Yahweh together, and I'll show you something. Matter of fact, he'll show you something. You want to see some divine manifestations? You need some proof? He'll show it to you. Now, whether you believe it or not, whether it changes your life or not, that's on you. But you cannot say you never saw it. You know you saw it. You didn't seen it. We'll pray together one day and you'll see it. And a lot of others have prayed with me and they've seen it. And they've become believers because of that, because they know this is the first time I've ever experienced anything like this. So when we read Deuteronomy chapter 14, verse 2, he goes, Moses is telling us, for thou art a holy people unto Yahweh, thy God, and the Lord. And let me just read that again, because see, let me emphasize this. Sometimes I get a little twisted up because I'm reading English and I'm trying to convert it back to the Hebrew. Let me just talk to you plainly. They did not want you to call upon a name. When I say they, the writers of this book, the English writers of this book did not want you to be calling upon a name. They wanted to remove the presence of the holy name out of the book. And so they rather just put the word Lord. But Lord is a generic term. That is not a name. When you look into the Hebrew, because this is all about Hebrews, the Lord, the translation here is YHWH. And you pronounce that Yahweh. So when I see the word Lord here, I will transpose it with the true word that's being used, Yahweh. Because again, this religion is Yahweh. It's all about him. It's all about him. So you're going to have to bear with me when I get a little mixed up like that and say Lord and Yahweh. But in verse 2, in chapter 14, in the book of Deuteronomy, we read, for thou art an holy people unto Yahweh thy Elohim, and Yahweh have chosen thee to be a peculiar people unto himself above all nations that are upon earth. So Yahweh has chosen you to be a peculiar, a different, a strange people above all the other nationalities. He's chosen you. You are an Israelite. He's chosen Israel. That's why it says many are called, only a few are chosen. He's referring to a few chosen Israelites. 144,000 to be exact. And if you're blessed to be in that number, you're going to hear what I'm saying, and you're going to receive it, and you're going to accept it. You're not supposed to be like the children of Cain. You're not supposed to be trying to serve God the way you want to serve him. You should want to serve God, Yahweh, the way God wants you to serve him. That's the emphasis I need to make here. I'm trying to get you to understand that the name of this religion is Yahweh, because we call upon the name. We lift our hands and we say Yahweh because we want his salvation. Yahweh, in the name of your son, Yahweh Shai. Why? Because his son, Yahweh Shai, paid the price for you. He paid the price for your sin. So we got to recognize his son. And by acknowledging his son, we also acknowledge the Father because the Father sent his son for us. So that's the reason why we bring them both together. For any of those who got questions, you know how to reach me. For my brethren who's far away and close by, you know how to reach me. I'm urging you to continue to keep the Shabbat holy. Time is running out. You're chosen. Stand out from the other nations and keep his Shabbat. Keep his commandments. Keep his laws, his statutes. And I'm just focusing on the Shabbat because I know that's the hard one for you. Because on Saturday, you want to do what you want to do because you've been caught up in the world and your family and all that. But like I said, you got to talk to them. And if you need some help, if you need prayer, let me know. We can pray about it. You'll see some results. I guarantee you. I've seen it. And I hope that this lesson is short and gets to you. And like I said earlier, so when anyone asks you, what's the name of your religion? You simply tell them Yahweh. Yahweh. That's the name. Yahweh. Okay? Because, and they say, what? Because and you can say, because we call upon the name of Yahweh. Bahasham Yahweh Shai. That means in the name of Yahweh Shai. We're calling on the Father, Yahweh, in the name of his Son, Yahweh Shai. On today, the Shabbat, you're not going to do what everyone else does. You're going to keep it holy. You're going to stop your personal desires, your personal pleasures. You're not going to be talking about things that you want to talk about. You're not going to be watching secular television. You're not going to be playing video games. You're not going to be going out shopping or partying. You're not going to be doing yard work. You're not going to be working. You're going to be in your house or with your brethren talking about Yahweh, praising him, thanking him, honoring him for all the goodness that he's done for you and that he's going to do for you. And this is practice, because if you don't start now and you're going to wait till you really need him, it's going to be hard for you, because the temptation and the pressures and the world events are going to be so climatic. It's going to be so, let me just be honest with you. I'm going to prophesy to you. There is a meteor, an asteroid that will come and wreak havoc on the earth, and it will be here instantly without no warning. It just be here. And when that takes place, society is going to crumble, and your government assistance and your jobs and your parents are going to not be able to help you. So you're going to have to call upon your Heavenly Father to help you. I'll go more in detail about that. It's my prayer time. I've been speaking for over an hour. I thank you for listening. Continue to listen to these videos, especially on the Shabbat. Study with me, ask questions, and let's gather to be able to keep this Shabbat holy and to keep the feast days that are coming up. Passover. Let me get the calendar here. So Passover will be on the Gentiles March 26th. So on the 26th of March, which is the Gentiles calendar, we will be celebrating the Passover, which is the Ab Yab 14. And I'm letting you know that so you guys can make your plans. Schedule it. And we'll be in the sanctuary. We'll have some lamb. We'll have some unleavened bread. We'll have some bitter herbs and we'll have a little glass of wine and we'll remember the Passover and what Yahweh did for our ancestors and what he will do again in this modern future time. In other words, in this present time, in the near future. So this is the reason why you got to remember this, because what he did back then, he's going to do it again. So you need to know what Passover is all about. You need to start participating on Passover. And I'm telling you to do it with me because I'm going to explain to you everything about Passover. I'm going to talk to you about it. And this is all about remembering it and not losing our history, because it's going to happen again. And if you don't know or understand it, you're going to miss it. All right. Let me just add, and let me add something to this too. You're going to have to stop being prideful about being in this. You can't be saying to yourself, oh, well, I don't have to call upon the name of Yahweh. I don't have to do this. I'm too ashamed to do it, or I got too much pride to do it. You know, you got to put away that pride, my brother, and you got to lift your hands and call upon his name. You had to swallow that pride. You're thinking that you don't have to do this because, you know, it's just, it don't fit in with your character, your personality. You think you're too cool to serve Yahweh. You think you're better than everybody else. That religion is for those people. You don't have to participate in it like that. Well, I'm here to tell you, Leviathan is on his way. So don't expect Yahweh to come to your aid if you cannot start now serving him, calling upon his name, lifting your voice, and truly worshiping him, helping those who are fatherless and those widows who need assistance, keeping the commandments by keeping his holy Shabbat. Stop eating unclean food, which is basically your pork, your crab, and your lobsters that you're eating all the time, your catfish. Keep his Shabbat holy. Stop polluting it, which is Friday night through Saturday night. So that means no going out to the clubs between that hour, no playing your video games, no looking at your movies, no playing sports and going to the store and shopping and looking online at whatever you're looking at. It's time to focus in on Yahweh and to serve him by keeping his commandment, by keeping it holy. This day is supposed to be about him. If you're looking at anything on TV, you should be listening to the videos that I make talking about Yahweh. You should maybe find you a YouTube video that is a Bible, this is a straight Bible reader that will read the scriptures to you. Some of you may not read very well. I understand. We're not all A students, B students, or even C students. So you're not a good reader, then maybe you need someone to read for you. Well, I'm sure you can find an app that can read the scriptures for you. There's a straight Bible app that will read it for you. Listen to that. Or pray, worship, listen to the videos that I make. Ask questions. You're going to have to show interest in this thing. You can't just say, no big deal, Bill. No big deal, Bill. But I'm telling you, brother, it will be a big deal. It's a big deal now, and it will be a big deal to you later. You don't think that I'm just here to bring this to you because Yahweh wants you to know, and that's it. It's because chaos is coming. Leviathan is on its way, and I want to talk about that. It's going to be horrible, horrible, horrible. I cannot stress this anymore. It's going to be so bad. And if you're not ready, meaning that you haven't made that connection with Yahweh, if you ain't got strong with him and have faith in him, you're going to suffer and die. I'm going to lose you. So I got to do my job. I got to act like the Father. And I got to instruct you and prepare you and strengthen you, confirming you every day. I got to do more, but you're going to have to be receptive to it. And I know those who are receptive to it, who are receiving it, they will accept this just like that. And then those who aren't called, those who aren't chosen, will reject it and will falter. So I'm not worried about it. I'm just concerned about you because Yahweh brought me here for you. This is not about me. You know, I'm not trying to get you to give me any money. I don't need anything from you. Only thing I would like to have is good camaraderie with you about this word. And if you don't want to do this word, then we're not meant to be together. And I understand that. My point is that I feel that more likely I'm here because Yahweh brought me here to help you get this understanding. So receive it, brother. Accept it. Join with me. Let's do this together and watch the miracles take place.